Hello and welcome back. Happy New Year. It is February and I am so happy to be doing another meditation quarters for this year. It is great to do another year of, these live sessions and really engage with people who are curious and, looking to figure out or see how mindfulness can be incorporated into their life. So, hello, and thank you for being here today. So, today we are going to be talking about money mindfulness and self value. So, really aligning your finances with your values. And so, whether you're joining live or watching the replay, this space is for you to explore mindful money habits, financial clarity, and abundance, right? No matter where you are on your financial journey, um, just know that you are in the right place if you're thinking about these things, or at least thinking about money and how it relates to you and your story, etc. Okay? Before I introduce myself and all these good things, I do want to let you know how today's session will flow. And so we'll start with a short guided meditation, right? To bring in a sense of clarity and abundance. And then we'll do a practical journaling exercise to map out your financial goals and habits. And then we'll transition into an affirmation based meditation. So I'll guide you through affirmations to help you shift any limiting beliefs around money. And finally, we'll explore mindful spending as a tool for financial wellness. So that's what you can really expect for today's session. And so before we jump into it, I do want to acknowledge and pay respect to the elders who have taken care of the land that we live on. So wherever you are tuning in from, I encourage you to definitely learn about the land that you live and reside on. But also want to make sure that we are establishing that this is a judgment free space, right? And so free rules, free ground rules, and obviously we can always talk about what these ground rules can look like or what they should be for our sessions. But number one, come as you are. This is a judgment free space. Number two, honor your time by being present. So if you have chosen to watch this replay or you are on here live, honor your time by being present and listening. And number three, respect others' reflections if they've shared. Okay. This really is a judgment free space. And so, whether you feel completely on top of your finances or like you're just figuring it out, that's okay too, right? The session is about awareness and not perfection. So, take what resonates and let's dive in. So, I have said so many times. My name is Francini, and I am a wellness coach and meditation facilitator, I would say, but really an advocate for mindful living. And, you know, I enjoy empowering others to, cultivate that balance or cultivate that alignment, clarity, and just a sense of well-being for themselves, however they define it. And I enjoy hosting meaningful conversations and sharing and hearing truths from around the world. And that's something I've always stayed true to and I'm very passionate about. Okay, so that's me. And if you want, you can drop a little bit about yourself in the chat. But thank you so much for joining me today. And so we will start after many, many slides with a question. What does money mean to you? What does money mean to you? Money has many different ties, many different stories. Um, yeah, what does money mean to you? I'll give you just a couple minutes to just reflect on what that is for you. But in the meantime, I do want to, read what's on the slide here and say, money is more than numbers. It's deeply connected to our sense of security, self worth, and our overall well being. And today we'll be exploring how mindfulness and intentionality can help us shift our financial mindsets and make empowered choices of our money. Because oftentimes the way we treat money, it's because of the stories that we have that connect us to it, our experiences with money, and us just trying to learn to get better at it for the most part. And if you're here, definitely I'm hoping that you're wanting to and eager to reframe your mindset when it comes to money. So let's go on. And as promised, I do want to start with a grounding meditation just because, money is connected to our emotions and our conditioning and our subconscious beliefs. And so this is where mindfulness comes in that it helps us really think of how we are making ties of money. Like, what does money mean to us? We're still circulating on that question, not circulating, but pondering on that question. What does money mean to you? And so, before we begin our exercises, I want to take just a moment to pause and connect with a feeling of abundance and clarity, because that's what I really want you to take away from this session today. And so, we're going to start with our guided meditation. So if you can go ahead and find a comfortable position, whether that be sitting upright with your feet grounded or lying down if that feels better. If you're comfortable, gently close your eyes and soften your gaze. And take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Let's do that again. Inhale deeply and exhale, releasing any tension. And just continue to breathe naturally. Of each breath, allow yourself to settle into this moment. There's nothing you need to do right now except be present. Now I invite you to bring your awareness to financial abundance, which is not just money itself, but the feeling of financial security, the feeling of freedom, financial freedom, and ease. I want you to imagine a future where you feel completely in control of your finances. You make wise, intentional decisions, and money flows to you and through you in ways that align with your values. I'll picture yourself checking your bank account and feeling calm and confident and empowered. See yourself making a purchase with full awareness, knowing it aligns with your goals. Breathing through it. And now visualize paying off a debt or reaching a savings milestone and feeling deeply proud of yourself. Visualize every detail of what that would feel like. And now silently repeat after me. I am open to financial abundance. I make wise and intentional financial decisions. I trust myself to manage money with clarity and confidence. Now take one more deep breath in and slowly exhale. When you're ready, gently bring your awareness back to the room. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And when it feels right, open your eyes. So I invite you to take a moment and notice how you feel. Did anything shift for you in that short practice? Maybe a sense of calm, a little more clarity, or even a new perspective on money, right? However you feel it, honor it. And now that we have centered ourselves, let's move into our journaling exercise where we'll put some of these insights into action. So now that we have grounded ourselves, right, in a vision of financial clarity and abundance, let's take it a step further. This next exercise that I'm going to walk you through is about translating that vision into something tangible. So, your personal roadmap to financial wellness. Given that you've really grounded yourself in financial abundance and clarity and freedom, you have visualized what that looks like for you. We're going to now put it to action with a journaling exercise, right? So if you have a notebook or a journal, grab it now. I'll give you a couple minutes. And if you'd rather type in your phone or computer, that's okay too. That works. And the key here is really to be honest with yourself. There are no right or wrong answers, just awareness and intention. So try not to judge yourself as you hear these questions and you're right about them. I'm going to guide you through a few reflection questions. So I'll read each one and I'll then give you a minute or two to write down your thoughts and your feelings. And honestly, if any of these feel challenging, that's okay. Just jot down whatever comes up for you. Okay, so I hope you have gotten a journal or a notebook or your phone and you're ready to write down now. But we're going to start with a big picture question, right? And obviously, it is what it means to you, but what does financial wellness mean to you personally? Have you ever heard it? Um, and what does it mean to you personally? For some, it might be being debt free. That's what it might mean. And for others, it could be, you know, it could be about feeling less stressed about money or having the ability to invest in experiences that bring joy. There's no single definition. And this is what financial wellness is and looks like for you. It's really about what you think financial wellness is for you, whatever stage of life that you're in right now. Okay, now let's bring it into focus. Our next question is, what are three financial goals you want to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? What are three financial goals you want to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? And these could be as simple as saving a specific amount of money, creating a budget, or a conscious spending plan. And that is super popular now. I know if you're a follower of Ramit Sethi, he's a US based, I think, financial advisor, but he emphasizes a conscious spending plan. And I think that helps us spend money better because money is not necessarily needed to be just saved. Like you have to realize the relationship with it is also something that is to be enjoyed, right? So um when you're thinking about your financial goals, it could be anything really, right? So creating a budget, a conscious spending plan, paying down debt, or just being more mindful about spending. Okay, so next we're going to reflect on this question, which is how do my current spending habits reflect my values and self worth? How do my current spending habits reflect my values and self worth? So I'll help you here in terms of thinking. And so, questions you can think about is, do you feel like your spending choices align with what truly matters to you? And are there areas where you're spending out of habit, stress, or social pressure rather than intention? Right? Because this is about becoming aware of patterns, not judging them, not criticizing yourself for them, just noticing. What are my actions aligned to, especially when it comes to money? And so finally, let's make it actionable. Next question is, what is one small but meaningful change you can make this week to align your money choices with your goals? What is one small but meaningful change you can make this week to align your money choices with your goals? And it can be as simple as checking your bank account more often, right? Pausing before impulse purchases or automating a small amount into savings, especially automation. Automation makes things feel so, I don't know, I want to say guilt free, but I think it also just gives it a bit of an ease. So, automating small amounts into saving is really helpful because it's not something that you think about actively and you just know it's happening. But yeah, what's one small change? And remember that small steps lead to big shifts, especially with goals. So, if you're thinking about your financial goals, what are the small steps? And know that the small steps, they add up, you know? I'll give you a couple minutes to answer that question. So what is one small but meaningful change you can make this week to align your money choices with your goals? Now let's take a moment to look over what you wrote. Did anything surprise you? Is there a pattern or insight that stands out? And if you feel comfortable, share a takeaway in the chat. It could be a goal you're working on, a realization you had, or even just a word that sums up how you feel about your financial journey, sorry, right now. There's no pressure, just an invitation to reflect out loud if it feels right. Thinking back for when I was doing exercises with journaling for my money mindset, I realized how much I operated in a lack mindset, even though I had money. I definitely was operating in a lack mindset because I just was always so tense and nervous that I would not have enough. And it was that mindset that was keeping me in the lack mindset. It didn't enable me to believe that there will always be more, that more will come. And so that's why journaling is such a powerful way to bring clarity to our financial habits and mindset. And so even if you didn't write much, just sitting with these questions, I think plants the seeds for change, right? So the more you reflect, the more intentional your financial choices become. So now, let's take these insights that we found from this awesome journaling session and reinforce them with an affirmation based meditation, which I hope will help you shift your financial mindset in a positive direction and one that serves you and brings you some joyous experiences. So, now that we've reflected on our financial goals and habits, I want us to reinforce those insights with a short affirmation based meditation, right? Um, Affirmations are powerful. I have loved them since I've learned of them. I think it's also great when you say it out loud, but they really help rewire the subconscious mind, shifting us away from limiting beliefs and toward an abundance mindset. The way you speak to yourself, the way you think, definitely affects the rest of your body. So your subconscious has quite a lot of power, you know. And so we want to see how we can rewire that and help you think of money in a more helpful way, in a more joyous way, in a way that creates more for you. So find a comfortable position again, if you can, either sitting upright with your feet planted firmly or lying down if that feels best for you right now. I just want you to be comfortable. And once you are, gently close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Let's do that again. So inhale deeply and exhale, releasing any tension. And just continue to breathe naturally, noticing the breath. And now I'll say a series of affirmations, and you can silently repeat them in your mind or say them out loud if that feels right for you. But just focus on the meaning behind the words and allow them to resonate with you. I am worthy of financial abundance and stability. I make wise and intentional financial decisions. Money flows to me in expected and unexpected ways. I release financial stress and welcome clarity and confidence. I have the power to create wealth and financial freedom. Every dollar I spend or save is aligned with my values and goals. I trust myself to manage money with confidence and ease. And just take a moment to breathe in these affirmations. Imagine them settling into your mind and body, becoming part of your financial reality. Now take a deep breath in and exhale, grounding yourself in this moment. Gently bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Wiggle your fingers. Don't forget your toes. And when you feel ready, open your eyes. And let's take a moment to notice how you feel again. Maybe lighter, more confident, or simply more aware. Affirmations work, and they work best when repeated often. So I do encourage you to choose one or two that stood out to you and practice them daily. Now, let's put this abundance mindset into action by exploring mindful spending. It's practical ways to make financial choices with clarity and, abundance. So now that we've anchored into a mindset of financial abundance and clarity, I really want us to talk about how to bring mindfulness into our everyday financial choices. And so, one of the most impactful ways to do this is through mindful spending. Just like mindful eating, when we speak about mindful eating, it's just bringing your awareness to the moment of the action or what you are doing in the moment. And so mindful spending in that way is becoming aware of where our money goes and making intentional financial decisions for our money, right? And so it would look like, I guess, relatively close to what budgeting used to look like, where the first stage is, just tracking and learning your habits, learning when you spend more, when you spend less, when there is emergency and stuff like that, so just knowing more about how your money flows in and out and making intentional financial decisions with regards to that. And so the mindfulness exercise, I would like to call it the conscious spending pause, and I think it is a simple but powerful practice, um, but simply a way to check in with yourself before making any purchase. So I call it the conscious spending pause. It definitely aligns again with Ramit Sefi, his practices of a conscious spending plan. But for this mindfulness exercise, we'll call it the conscious spending pause. And so you exercise it by thinking before you buy something, not thinking, but bringing your awareness slightly before you buy something, whether that be a coffee, an online purchase, or a big investment, right? You pause and ask yourself a few questions. And so I'll actually ask a couple of questions, but choose at least two or three of these questions that you can think of in moments before you buy something or make a purchase that you're making it an intention of spending mindfully. These are the questions you're going to ask yourself before you make that purchase. So, the first question is, does this purchase align with my values and financial goals? Does this purchase align with my values and financial goals? Am I spending in a way that supports what truly matters to me? Am I spending in a way that supports what truly matters to me? This is a good one. But is this a need, a want, or an emotional reaction? Is this a need, a want, or an emotional reaction? Am I buying this out of necessity, for joy, or to fill a temporary feeling? And so a temporary feeling can be like stress, boredom, comparison, so many more. But like, am I buying this out of necessity? Do I need this? Am I buying it for joy or to fill a temporary feeling? Another one is, how will I feel about this purchase tomorrow? And I feel like this question can be really good for many people in many situations, in that, especially when we think of how money is tied to, doing things for ourselves and doing things for others and just wanting to, but feeling very strained because, you know, mommy wants this bag and, you have to buy food for the kids, all these different purchases, it definitely helps you reassess, is it a need or a want? I think a big part of that is also like birthdays, for friends, family. It is a big question. It's like, am I getting this for my friend? Would I rather be buying something else? The feelings that are tied to when you're making these purchases are very impactful. It definitely serves how your story with money is defined. And so, this is a good question to ask yourself. How will I feel about this purchase tomorrow? Want to make sure that you have good feelings about it and you are excited to give this gift or whatever you're buying for whoever it is or for yourself. And yeah, the next question is, will I feel good about this decision later or will I regret it? Will I feel good about this decision later or will I regret it? And so, really, by taking just a few seconds to check in, you bring awareness into your financial decisions and create space for intentional spending. So, really hoping there's no more of like, I won't check my bank account. I'm just going to spend, spend, spend. You need to know how your money is flowing, right? You can't deal with it later. Yes, more money will come. However, you have to know how your money system works. How does your money flow? Your money doesn't flow the same way as everybody else's. We all have our unique flow of money. I think that's definitely unique to each of us. Letting it go. Letting it go. And so I actually have a mindful spending challenge, a bit of a reflection. I want us to put this into practice. And so if you can think back to a recent purchase, maybe something you bought today or this past week, I want you to ask yourself, what motivated that purchase? Was it intentional, or was it influenced by stress, habits, or impulse? Now, looking ahead to this coming week, what is one way you can practice mindful spending? Maybe it's pausing before non essential purchases, perhaps tracking your spending without judgment, or simply just noticing patterns in how you spend. If you feel comfortable, share in the chat what mindful spending looks like for you this week. Maybe it's bringing lunch from home. Maybe it's checking your budget before buying or delaying impulse purchases for 24 hours. I think mine is going to be having a weekly check in with myself. So I typically schedule my weekly check ins, uh, hopefully to have them, but sometimes they don't happen, you know? So that is definitely my mindful spending so I can know where I'm at with my money. But let's inspire each other with simple mindful money choices. You can put it in the chat what you feel like you're going to be doing up ahead. Okay, awesome. And so mindful spending isn't about never spending. I want to make that clear. Mindful spending isn't about never spending your money. Okay? You have to let go of it. And so it's about making purchases that align with who you are and where you want to be, right? Because it's talking about your values and your goals. So it's aligning with the person that you are and where you want to be. And every financial choice, no matter how small, is a chance to actually practice mindfulness and intentionality. And so if you can keep these two in your mind, hopefully over time it comes into fruition in terms of your financial goals and all the things that you hope for yourself, right? And so I just definitely, as we wrap up, I want to invite you to carry this practice forward. And so, in terms of mindfulness, these are just some tips in terms of how you can incorporate them into your daily life. It doesn't have to be just about money, it's also just mindfulness of taking pauses and being intentional. But the next time, in terms of financial wellness, the next time you reach for your wallet or your purse, just take a mindful pause. That small moment of awareness can be the key to long term financial wellness, right? And we want to think back to your definition of financial wellness and how you've thought about money all throughout this exercise and this session, right? I do want to acknowledge that things take time, especially when it comes to mindfulness and the things that we do on a daily. So you might not see the results right away. But we've covered a lot today, right? We've visualized financial freedom, we've journaled about our goals, we've affirmed our worth and practicing mindful spending. And so I just want you to remember that financial wellness isn't just about numbers. Money isn't just about numbers, it's about self awareness, it's about confidence and making choices that support your well being. So before we end, I'd love to hear your biggest takeaway from today's session. What resonated with you the most? Feel free to drop it in the chat. Let me know how you feel. Let me know. I hope this was good. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something away. I hope you come back to it and do the meditations when you feel low with money. But thank you so much for sharing your time with me today and energy with me today. And if you'd like to revisit this workshop, the recording will be available to you for you to reflect on. But I am wishing you all clarity, confidence, and abundance on your financial journey and grateful. Have a good night. good day. Wherever you are in this world, have a good one. Bye.